G'day, nerds, and welcome back to our feature match area here, Riley Knight, joined by Corey Baumeister one last time today, Corey, as we've got to get an opponent ready for Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, who is waiting in another qualifier match. He's already lost one. Can he go one better this time around? His opponent will be either Riku Kumagai on this Jeskai Mutate deck that has taken the weekend by storm, or Javier Dominguez. He's already been to Worlds. He's already won Worlds. So he'll be hungry to do it all over again. Corey, how does this matchup look from the outset, and what can we expect as these two blokes get underway?
So one of the big reasons why this Sultai Ultimatum deck kind of fell back was the combination of Goldspan Dragons and Disdainful Strokes and Negates when you attack. That combination of pressure mixed with very disruptive spells to be able to counter Emergent Ultimatum. Now, this deck has went through this Is It Dragons deck has went through a bit of a facelift in the form of Jeskai Mutate, so it's not the same as it was when it was a really good matchup against Sultai before. But those elements alone still make it a pretty good matchup for Jeskai Mutate. So Javier not only has a really tough matchup here, but has a tough matchup if he were to win this as well to get a seat at the World Championship. So gonna be very difficult.
It's funny because Dominguez, I think, went on record and said that he has no good matchups with this deck, and here he is, 2 matches away from another world championship with it. So I don't know, man. If he's got bad matchups across the board, it says a lot about the caliber of player that he is.
Yeah, no kidding. And hasn't had a great day, but had that excellent day yesterday to be able to put himself in this position where he's still here, even though, went 1-4 or something like that today, still has a decent shot at taking it down.
It's funny how Sultai Ultimatum has been, one of the top dogs of the format for a long time, but there's a new kid on the block that's already had a bunch of hits here in the form of Jeskai Mutate. This has really been a breakout performance from this deck, which is unusual considering that the format is kind of coming to a close in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that just showed the really dynamic and awesomeness of this standard format. It was so many good decks. Nothing was really extremely dominant, and things were changing week after week. So it's been really fun to see the shifts and see what people can do week in and week out to deal with each other's threats. And look at this, Riley. As of right now, I don't see an answer for this Elder Gargoyle. So if Javier were to just jam here and just go for it, it's going to work. And that is a really tough card to deal with for game one before we have any burning hands or something like that.
I mean, the Garg is such a good threat against non-black decks. I mean, I guess white decks also have unconditional removal in some of the exile effects that they have as well. But if you're not playing black, chances are an Elder Gargoth is going to be a bit of a threat for you to have to deal with. But Dominguez is going to play it safe by the water and instead go for another Cultivate here. Cultivate's got to be one of my all-time favorite cards, man. It's got to be one of my all-time favorite. It's it's not a good card, but it's such a sweet card.
Yeah, I love me a good ramp deck. Let me tell you, that's my style of Magic as well. It's so easy to just ramp into something gigantic and play it. It makes it easier to win some games, even if you have if you're not as good as your opponent. Not that that's the case between these two, but it is when I play, of course.
Expressive iteration here from Riku Kumagai. You can see a couple lands and another iteration. This is the classic iteration play. So often you just want to hit a land with the exile effect, put the worst card of the bunch into your library, and then pick the other one for later on. I imagine we'll see iteration going to the hand, one of these lands going to the library, and the other one into the battlefield by way of the exile zone briefly.
Yep, absolutely. And Riku's really kind of has the combo elements pretty locked up here. Need Vadrock to really get it going, but need some disruption here as well for some of the really big plays. And you do see kind of a little bit of a bluff here, and the jig is going to be up here. We're going to see what really is available, and I wouldn't be too shocked if this Valky resolves to just slam Elder Gargaroth after this and really put a brick wall in place for Riku.
Yeah, Valky cast for Goblin Piker mode. Not something that we see hugely, but I think rather than the 2/1 here, the most useful part of this card is just going to be the information. It's unsurprising to see Kumagai getting rid of that dragon. He doesn't want Valky sprouting a pair of wings here. But Dominguez can snipe one of these Lord Dracuses. Doesn't do a huge amount with Valky. Give him a couple of extra points of toughness so he doesn't die to Spikefield Hazard. But actually, Spikefield Hazard might just exile him now, right? That'd be the...
Yeah, definitely can. The big price for that is you have to use a treasure, which is not ideal. So I assume no matter what, Javier is going to be able to see the hand. So it's not like Riku gets to hide the information with the Spikefield Hazard. So it's all system goes, and it's time for the Garg. And you see it in Javier's face. He's like, that's a good one to play right now.
Oh, yeah. Big old Garg coming down here. This is going to be a big threat for Kumagai to have to fight through.
Now, Riku Kumagai, of course, can win the game outside of combat. So, if we can find a Goldspan Dragon, which we unfortunately had to shuffle away, otherwise Valky was going to take it. If we can find another one, combine it with Vadrik, combine it with Lord Dracus, all of a sudden you don't have to attack with that Elder Gargaroth in play, and you can just aim a bunch of damage at the face and not worry about it.
So another expressive iteration reveals Mystical Dispute. I saw a white card there. Didn't get a chance to figure out what it was, and I think there's a land as well.
Shelter, right? I think that's the only actual white card.
Yeah, Sajiri Shelter. Yeah.
Say that 10 times fast. I feel like you want to be putting Dispute into your hand for sure. It's that bit of hidden information just in case Javier does just have Emergent Ultimatum, the hallmark card of the deck. You at least have that sneaky counter spell that Javier hasn't seen yet.
Dominguez is in a good position. He's in a good position. Yeah. The draw that Kumagai has pulled together here hasn't lined up well with what Dominguez is up to. And so far, the Spaniard... I tell you what, mate. His temples get that. I mean, it's either him or Finkel for the lifetime most massaged temples.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Finkel takes that down, but Javier is definitely coming up. And there's Ultimatum.
That's just because he's played more hours. Give Dominguez enough time. He'll catch up. Don't even worry about it. Here's the Sultai Ultimatum, the Emergent Ultimatum, the namesake card of the deck here. And it's interesting to see the way that this deck has evolved over the months. The Garg has become a much bigger part than it used to. We saw Seeker's Chariot fall into and then out of favor in this deck. And now Emergent Ultimatum is still able to go and get some pretty sick piles. But, we've gone down from 4 copies of Alrund's Epiphany to just 2. There still is Vorinclex hanging around. There's still Kioribes, the Sea God. So while the internal structure of the deck has changed a little bit, those Emergent Ultimatum piles are still really nasty for the opponent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, they've been pulling back slowly but surely for more answers to the big threats of the format, Winota being the main one that kind of sculpts these decks and the kind of answers you have to play, but still enough great cards, even though we've lost Valky in this game to the Exile Zone, but still Kioribes, the Sea Gods, Alrund's Epiphany, another Gargaroth, for instance, is still going to be a devastating pile if Emergent Ultimatum were to resolve, but we know that Mystical Dispute is there to say otherwise.
And Kumagai playing this list, which I believe only has 1 copy, just keeping them honest.
Yep, 1 Mystical Dispute and 1 Negate. So I would not be too shocked to see this fired away. There's not a lot of counter magic for this Emergent Ultimatum. And in fact, those are the only 2 cards in the deck. So Riku had to have found it that last turn. Just so happens that he did. So if Javier pulls the trigger here, it's going to be pretty bad news. But outside of that, what else is Javier doing, really? Like binding the old gods a treasure? Not great. Here it is.
His hand isn't super well set up to fight this particular battle, even with the Garg on the table. Here's Mystical Dispute, and Javier Dominguez can't believe it, mate. He can't believe it. The one of getting riggedy wrecked by it here. And now
if we find a Goldspan Dragon from Riku, we find Goldspan Dragon, this could just be over.
Oh, and kabam, there it is. From the Exile Zone, and is that enough? So these treasures now tap for 2 mana. We're going to make another one by attack. No, can't do that because the Garg has reach.
That's the problem.
The Garg has a reach. Let's not forget about that. But Vadrock, you get a 2 mana rebate from the Vadrock there. Of course, it costs 4 to mutate. Bring back, is able to cast something from the bin. It's a Prismari command. Gonna deal.
And we're just gonna be taking it down here. Both. Oh yeah, this is insane.
Yeah.
So Lord Drakus is gonna cast another Prismari command off the Vadrik, deal 2 more to Gargaroth, return anything, another counter spell, and then use the other Lord Drakus to use the last 2 points of damage, and then you get to attack, and then you keep going, and then deal the rest of the damage upstairs. So just like that, a game that looked in Javier Dominguez's hands in command is just over in one turn with 2 good draw steps of a counter spell into Goldspan.
And just think about how much mana is being spent here for someone who, untapped with, 6, 7 lands, a couple of treasure tokens. You play a Goldspan Dragon, its treasure generation ability absolutely broken in half here by the fact that Vadrok and Lord Drakus are able to provide extra treasures when they come down. Lord Drakus coming down effectively for free, as we've talked about.
Yep.
And the Mutate ability on Vadrok has produced already how much? 9 mana this turn? 5 treasures left over.
Yeah, started with 2. I guess we are kind of out of it right now. We need an unsubstantiate to keep this going. There's another Lord Drakus, so that is a lot more looks at it. And there's another
and a 4th Lord Drakus. Wow, assembling 4 of a kind, another Vadrok going on top of this it's going to go underneath the dragon. Goldspan Dragon now. I mean, I think this is one of the biggest mutate piles I've ever seen. It's got 2 Vadroks. It's going to have 4 Lord Drakuses. Riku Kumagai is just going to be able to. The trigger's going to read pick up your graveyard at this point.
Oh yeah.
He's going to have to stack the triggers correctly. Otherwise, he's going to have nothing left to cast with the Vadrok. Everything will return to his hand.
And from what I've seen, I don't see an actual unsubstantiate yet. So technically it's not over, but think of the amount of looks here. We have a bunch of Seize the Spoils, a bunch of Prismari commands. It might actually be a mathematical lock that you get to see your entire deck here to be able to find and unsubstantiate. So yeah, this is just going through the motions. Gonna be game here after a short while.
Returns 3 cards to hand, is able to cast a Seize the Spoils from the graveyard, another Prismari command as well. Shot going upstairs. Is that another treasure token, of course, to keep the mana flowing? And Javier Dominguez has just got to sort of sit here and wait for his fate to be decided by Riku Kumagai, who, as we've said, has got a very good chance of just being there's the unsubstantiate. So can now return all of these cards to hand and do it all again. 500,000 mana floating, plays the dragon, which will then pick up a bunch more mutate creatures. Again, don't forget these Lord Drakuses mutate for free. Can return all these cards in the bin. Looped his Prismari command. And for the simple, very straightforward combo of 7 cards and 4 million mana, Splinter Twin comes to standard.
Yeah, Splinter Twin with a lot of extra steps, but honestly, the same kind of power level. Like, look at this game a couple turns ago. Javier landed an Elder Gargaroth. Velki came down to make sure Goldspan Dragon had to be shuffled away. There was no answer to Emergent Ultimatum that ended up being cast the turn after by Javier. We not only found Mystical Dispute, Riku Kumagai found Mystical Dispute, and then the next turn found Goldspan Dragon, and then went off. So, I mean, the sequence of draws to be able to end the game on this turn was astonishing.
Yeah, and he had to tuck away Goldspan Dragon early on in response to the Valk. He had to get rid of the one that he had. He tucked it away with the Valakut Awakening. So very fortunate for him to have found another copy after having gotten rid of the first one. But it's paid off in dividends here, paid off in spades. Javier Dominguez, unfortunately, his Sultai deck just a little short of the mark. That one of Mystical Dispute. I wonder how many tight spots these Japanese boys are being gotten out of by the one of Mystical Dispute that they've been packing, because we've seen it do some work throughout this weekend, Corey. And this is going to be enough here. The final 2 points of damage with Prismari commands means that Riku Kumagai is 1 game away from facing off against John Emmanuel Duprat for a slot at the World Championship.
Yeah, and if we look at Javier's hand, it's not like if he didn't go for that emergent ultimatum, he had all the answers to stop that from going on. The only piece of interaction was a Jwari Disruption, which I counted more than 1 mana. I don't know about you. And then a power word kill, which is not great against Goldspan Dragons. So Javier didn't really have a chance to do anything that game outside of just Riku not drawing that sequence of Dispute into Goldspan Dragon.
We see Dominguez making some pretty significant changes, taking out, look at all those sweepers coming out, Pestilent Haze, Crippling Fear, Shadow's Verdict, and the Extinction Event, and some other cards being trimmed, including Elrond's Epiphany and Kiribati the Sea God. Instead, in comes Interaction, New Rate, Negate, and Duress. Maze Mind Tome.
New split card,
extra cards, and Coma as well. Man, imagine a split card Negate Duress. That'd be pretty good, man.
Yeah, no kidding. Good. No kidding. I would I'd play that card. That's for sure.
1 blue, black, choose 1. Nah, it's not that good. Nah, it's not that good.
Well, that could be one of their cards if they take down the world championship here.
At instant speed though, get them in the draw step. Love to do that with a Colligan's command. Anyway, decent enough hand here for Dominguez. Looks like Kumagai a little lighter on action, but if he tries to jam this Maze Mind Tome on turn 2, he's going to be punished for it here. Jwari Disruption ready and willing to force spike something out of here.
The only good thing for Riku Kumagai to not play the Tome here is you maybe want to negate Cultivate, but it's really just too tempting to play that on turn 2. There's not many ways to deal with it. Just Jwari Disruption and negates.
Ooh, and Duress off the top's a nice one as well here for Dominguez. With 3 mana, he can either hardcast this Mystical Dispute or keep up the Omen. And a Duress, a tidy hit here. Probably just going to take that negate. Maybe the Seize the Spoils, though.
Seize. Yeah, I think you take the Seize. If Javier
just
looks
because
at
the
that
hand is so weak, right?
So weak. Like, that's not really doing anything if you take that Seize. And if Javier had an answer, like another Jwari Disruption, maybe would keep that Seize around because you could just really get a nice 2-for-1. But that's the way Riku gets back into this game with a very weak hand so far.
He could keep up that Mystical Dispute for it. I don't know. Listen, he's a much better player than I am. I'm not going to question it.
Yeah, he already tapped. He already tapped the black for Duress, so Dispute
he couldn't cast it,
got that one, yeah.
No, excuse me, of course, it makes sense. Yeah, he doesn't want to give Kumagai the chance to make his hand look any better, considering that it is a bit of a garbage fire at the moment. Although looking better with, oh my goodness, yes, Lord Drakus into the Goldspan Dragon. So we very kind to him here.
So we might easily just see a jam of one of these creatures, and that will open the door to resolve Goldspan Dragon. Now, with Goldspan Dragon not able to attack, it's not as impactful. And then we do see Binding the Old Gods, which can clean it up. So, yeah, everything is still coming up Javier so far.
So here's the Sky Noodle. Yorion is going to blink the Omen and finds Heartless Act Duress. Duress gets kept on top. Heartless Act goes below decks. And now Kumagai can play the dragon but can't attack with it profitably.
Yeah, not really. Can attack with it and then use the hazard to clean up Yorion, but that's not a very good exchange. I'm sure we're just going to leave this back, but we are going to see this Binding the Old Gods to just be able to cleanly deal with it without giving Javier a treasure. That is one of the very few cards that doesn't trigger the treasure from Goldspan Dragon, so this is going to be a huge exchange for Javier.
Really nice as well with that Duress able to clear the way. Yorion gets in as well, and now Kumagai has got to continue his fortuitous draws and finds a decent one. It has to be said. He is under a little bit more pressure than he'd like, but Maze Mind Tome is going to help him dig through his library. Draws a card immediately, I guess, in case he draws a land here, so he can play it.
Yep.
He finds. It's another. Well, it's effectively a land. Another Spikefield Hazard there is going to do the job. Ketria Triome, the pickup from the Binding, and now Elder Gargaroth.
See if this Gargaroth works out a little bit better. Now, we do only see the one copy of Burning Hands in the sideboard of Riku Kumagai. You know, so that is the main card you really want here. But as it stands right now, Riku just doesn't really have the tools to take down Gargaroth here.
Yeah. And the Gargoth will end a game very quickly. You know, it's great in most positions, assuming that your opponent doesn't just have something to kill it. And whether it's putting on more pressure by pooping out beast tokens, drawing extra cards, or even stabilizing your life total, Elder Gargaroth is very much a Swiss Army knife here and can do exactly what's required at any point. The fact that it has reach and vigilance and trample plays both sides of the court effectively. Elder Gargaroth. And I just remember the days we tapped 5 mana and we're happy to gain 5 life, dude, a lot with a 5/3. Now kids these days, 6 mana, 6 or 5 mana, 6/6 trample, vigilance, gaining life, drawing cards.
If you're referencing Thragtusk, that card did a lot more than just that. Give me a 3/3 when it dies too.
Baby.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Restoration Angel with it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. But the Resto's just come to Historic as well. Can't wait to jam that combo again. Anyway, here it is. Gargaroth getting in for some damage, making a 3/3, which again is a lethal attacker here. Yorion as well getting in and knocking Kumagai down to just 2. So he's really hard up against it.
Nothing really Riku can draw here. This looks very likely to force a game 3 to see who advances.
Such is the power of the Garg, my friends. Unsubstantiate's not going to do it. And so Riku Kumagai picks up a loss and we even things out. 1-1. Riku Kumagai, Javier Dominguez. What a power move from Kumagai as well. His player profile with a trophy in it. So
yeah.
You know that he's not come to muck around. He's not come to make friends here.
I don't know. Javier does have a picture of his likeness from winning the world championship earlier, though. So I think they're both slightly flexing here, both intimidating the other player.
Yeah, but where is it, mate? Not in his picture, is it? What's he? I mean, actually, if I were Dominguez, I would, instead of that, like, you get there and what's he like? Hey, here's your shirt you have to wear for the official. For the official photo shoot. It's like, no, it's all right. I brought a shirt of my own, just a t-shirt with the art from Fervent Champion printed all over. It's like, this is the only shirt I wear. Thanks very much, though.
Yeah, I would be making a shirt with that if I was ever lucky enough to take it down. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. So a good-looking hand here for Dominguez. He's got the Garg, which can come out on turn number 4 thanks to that Cultivata. So let's get it done here. Javier Dominguez off to a flyer. There isn't a gate for the Cultivate, and Kumagai's not going to muck around here, you would have thought. Or does he want to draw a card with the Maze Mind Tome instead?
That's the big choice, and that's why I love Javier doesn't really have any other plays, so this is pretty forced, but that's why I really love just jamming all the time when your opponent has a Maze Mind Tome. You make them choose. Do they want to get some extra card advantage, or do you want to stop me from what I'm doing? And with no lands here, we're going to probably... Oh, okay, we do have that land, so we don't have to fire off the Expressive Iteration. That was a decent draw as well. Now we're going to see if we want to go with Binding on the Tome or just get the Pelucranos.
No. Get that Binding out here. Get that Binding. It means that the Maze Mind Tome is just replacing itself, which is fine because you're getting another card with the Binding. So you're still up on... You're still at parity here. This is great for Dominguez.
Look at this, though. We have Goldspan Dragon. We have Lord Dracus.
Oh, don't tell me he's got it.
It's not over now. There's not enough mana. But if there is any kind of permission spell in the graveyard unsubstantiated, I don't think we have seen much.
No, there's a negate.
Far. There's a negate.
That doesn't hit the Dracus
still has.
Oh, sorry, the Gargaroth.
Yeah.
Doesn't hit the Garg. You see a negate brought back, but Elder Gargaroth. A brick wall in the face of this Goldspan Dragon for now.
Yeah, and the right combinations of draws, Riku could end this right now.
Yeah, and you can see Javier Dominguez. Look at he's scared. He's peeking through his fingers. He's scared to look at the screen, mate. He doesn't want it. He cannot bear to face his doom here.
I feel you, bud. I feel you.
Oh, the poor bloke, because he knows that his destiny is now not in his hands. He's done his best. He's put the Garg out. But against Goldspan Dragon and a Jeskai Mutate play with a nice full hand, anything can happen. And we know that Vadrock is in hand ready to go. We know that there's a Lord Dracus hiding out underneath that Goldspan Dragon. Don't forget about that. So where will it go from here?
So here's a big thing. We see that we have 6 mana for Javier. So if Javier were to get another turn, it's very clear that Emergent Ultimatum is not the way to go. That's another Lord Dracus. But it's very clear that Emergent Ultimatum is not going to be a great play with Negate available. But Polukranos with a fight, that is still a great answer next turn if Javier even gets another turn.
Yeah, that's a nice clean 7 mana here. So Dominguez has got his roadmap. Listen, he's got at the sat-nav, right? He's popped in the destination. It's processing. He's waiting to see if there's any roadworks or any other sort of, difficulties he's going to have on the way to his destination. At the moment, Riku Kumagai there in a hard hat and a high-vis vest saying, listen, mate, I'm doing my best to close this road off. We're going to fill up these potholes.
And here it is. Here's what we're going to see. Just a bunch of free expressive iterations trying to be found. And if we can find a Prismari command or a Seize the Spoils
Seize
to
the
get
Spoils
this.
is huge here.
Seize is insane.
Seize the Spoils is massive. Yep, and that's the one that's going to be put in the exile zone. It can be cast here. It's going to use the Last of the Treasure by the look of things.
Yeah, Last of the Treasure, but then you do get that treasure back, of course. Lord Dracus after that to start going again. And all of a sudden, we're drawing like 6, 7, 8 cards here to try to find an Unsubstantiate plus Prismari command to just lock it up.
And there's the Unsubstantiate on the Elder Gargoyles.
Now you get the free attack.
So that effectively costs 0 mana because you get the 2 mana rebate, and the critically the Unsubstantiate is in the bin now. But what's next?
We're a Prismari command away from sending Riku Kumagai to go play John Emmanuel Duprat for a seat at the World Championship.
Is Lord Dracus. Can still be mutated, of course, effectively once again for free because it generates a treasure token, which will tap for another 2 mana here. Will be sacrificed for 2 mana.
Or like Lord Smackus, with how much smacking this card has been doing to players all weekend. It has just looked so good with Goldspan Dragon. It's incredible.
And I like how the Spike Build has it is like a little ritual. It's like a little rite of flame almost.
It really is.
You pay 1 mana and you get 2 back. There's the Lord Dracus. Again, effectively free. And if this brings back an Unsubstantiate, is that enough to do it all again?
It's tough. Maybe if you get the free spell you cast definitely Seize. You bring Unsubstantiate to your hand as well as Expressive Iteration. See what you hit off Seize the Spoils. Start with Prismari command if you were to find it. But now I wonder. So if we Unsubstantiate, the Unsubstantiate's free. That goes to 6 mana. No, it looks like we're giving up here.
No. Doesn't look like we're going off. I mean, putting it into the a Saw That Coming on Ice here is a pretty clear indication that you're not going to go for it this turn. And this means that Polukranos now with that foretold Saw It Coming is not the line that Javier was hoping it would be. It is not the clean answer to the dragon that he was hoping that he'd be able to get away with here. The Zombie Hydra probably going to be counted one way or the other. No.
Yeah, Riku really lined this up pretty well. It doesn't matter too much here. If Javier goes for this fight, then we just have the Unsubstantiate to bounce it.
Yeah, so, ties up a little more mana. Yeah, sure.
Riku just played this so well where he just left himself with 4 mana and then Unsubstantiate, Negate, and Saw It Coming. 2 pieces of permission up against this Sultai deck. Sultai does a lot of things well. It does not double spell very well. And that's the biggest problem with it. And Riku just has, so many lines covered, even if he is not winning the game on this turn because he can't find Prismari command.
So even now with a second Goldspan Dragon, we know there's that face-up Unsubstantiate here. Dominguez is going to have a tough time getting this Polukranos to connect with the Goldspan Dragon that is mutated out the wires here. Down comes the second dragon.
And this is one of those games where it's just like, I don't need the combo. Riku is probably just going to attack here and be like, all right, your go. Good luck.
Again, hey, Corey, I've talked about it all weekend, mate. The only combo I care about with Goldspan Dragon is the Flying Hasty 4/4 and your opponent's face. It's a 1-card combo.
Yeah. I don't think Riku agrees. He's done a lot more things than that.
It's 2 cards if you draw 2 copies of Goldspan Dragon. I will say that.
Of course.
Anyway, Goldspan Dragon getting in for 8 here. Both of them going to get stuck in and reduce the former world champion down to just 4 life.
And as far as I see, that's it.
No, this is not going to be enough. You can pick your poison. There are 2 different ways that Kumagai can make sure this emergent ultimatum doesn't resolve. And Javier Dominguez dream run comes to an end. Riku Kumagai makes it through to the qualifying match against Jean-Emmanuel Deprat here. A world championship slot up for grabs here.